Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Today I would like to invite you to bake with me Bulka z rodzynkami, Hala bread with raisins. And this goes back to childhood memories again, when grandma was still alive and she used to bake this Hala bread for us. And children as children, of course, not all of us like the raisins inside, so we used to dig them out. Grown-ups didn't mind it at all. They actually enjoy the extra sweetness. You can leave the raisins out if you are not a big fan of that. And there is an option of putting a crumble on top if you like the crumble. The recipe can be made making one bigger piece of the challah bread or making 2 or even 3 of them. So it all depends if you have guests coming over and you want to have a bigger piece. You like to eat it for breakfast with some butter, that's what we used to do, or cream cheese or jelly. Or you want to give it to a neighbor, you can divide the dough into 2 parts or 3 parts. That's what I'm going to do today. Divide my dough into 3 parts and have 3 challah breads. So I can actually bring it over to my neighbors and give it to them as a gift. If you don't need a bigger one and you just want a smaller one, then divide the recipe in half and you will have a smaller challah bread. Welcome to my kitchen and thank you for watching. Bulka z rodzynkami. Challah bread with raisins. I will need 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 1 1/4 of a cup of warm milk, and I will put 1 tablespoon of honey into that milk, packet of yeast, which I'm going to dissolve in my milk, 6 tablespoons of softened butter, 2 egg yolks, pinch of salt, and I have a raisin mixture. So I have golden raisins, which usually are softer than the dark regular raisins. And because the dark raisins are more on the drier side, even if the box is brand new, I like to put them in warm water for 5 minutes so they soften and then pat them dry with a paper towel. And also I like to add some apricots to that raisin mixture. So I would cut them into smaller pieces and mix it with rest of the raisins. And this is all I need for my delicious sweet chalka. That particular challah bread, we used to eat it with just butter. It can be a breakfast thing or snack thing. I mean, my kids, they want it for supper. Sometimes before they go to bed, they get hungry and, Mama, can we have some milk and the challah bread? And first thing to do is, of course, dissolve the yeast, as it takes a few minutes to get ready, get active. So I will put my tablespoon of honey in my milk. I use a teaspoon, so I'm gonna put 2 teaspoons of honey. I love honey. Honey gives this nice flavor. I usually use honey instead of sugar. So my milk is about 112 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is great. So now it's time. Mix my yeast and get it going. And while I'm waiting for this, I can have my all ingredients put together. So my flour goes in, sugar, egg yolk, my softened butter, and one thing I forgot to mention, the eggs need to be taken out of the fridge a couple hours before you start making the dough for the challah bread. So those are room temperature. And my raisins, I soaked them, they softened, and I have probably a cup of them. So I will put it all here also, and my yeast is almost ready. It's getting nice and foamy, as you can see. Okay, now it's time. And once I have all the ingredients mixed, kind of incorporated all together, I will use my hands to finish mixing it. So your dough will be pretty sticky, very soft, and that's how it should be. You want your challah bread to be also nice and soft once it's baked. You don't want your challah bread to be dense but nice and fluffy. The amount of raisins here again is really flexible. If you like them a lot, you put more. If you are not that crazy about them, you put a little bit. And if you don't want any of those at all, then you can skip it. There is actually another way to make this kind of dough, challah bread, without the raisins, and I like to do it with apricot jam. So one of those days I will put a video together doing exactly the same recipe, but putting some apricot jam inside of it, making a couple braids on top, and then baking it. Okay, now time to cover it and leave it for 60-90 minutes. It all depends how warm it is in your house. The rule is it has to double in size. Okay, little break now. I have mentioned that I am going to divide the dough into 3 parts and make 3 smaller challah breads. And last week I have ordered those pans. I want to show you. I never had a silicone pans like this before. I'm kind of old-fashioned lady who is using regular pans and pots. But I got intrigued by the design. I think it's pretty awesome, pretty cool. So I've tried them last week and my breads came out really nice, looking beautiful. So this is what I want to use. I'm gonna use 2 of those. So the packet that I ordered came package of 4 of those, and all 4 have different designs. And then I also ordered 2 of those, and the whole packet was either you buy 1 or you buy 2, and I got 2 of those. So I will use 1 of this design shape and then 2 of the other kind. That way I can also show you if you're ever interested in buying something like that, is it worth it or it's not worth it, you know how it looks like. But like I said, I've done it last week and they came out looking great. And before I put my dough into those pans, I like to grease them using coconut oil. So I'll just take a little bit and spread it around over my new pans. I like coconut oil. It has this wonderful flavor. I think it's pretty healthy for you, more healthy than the other oils that usually we use in the kitchen cooking. Some people love olive oil for everything, and I don't think that baking actually goes very well with olive oil. It has this aftertaste which kind of spoils the delicate, gentle, nice flavor of your baked goods, sweets. So my favorite, coconut oil. Some of you who are watching, maybe you can actually share any substitutes that are more healthy for us, and that will help other people, to read about it and make better choices. Thank you. It is time to check on my dough. And as you can see, it did double in size. Nice and fluffy. And now I will want to gently fold it a few times and divide it into 3 parts. And for that I like to use a scale, so I know that I have pretty much equal parts. Okay, 420, 380. Okay, so they are about 400 grams each, and I have greased my pan, so they are ready. And yes, it looks pretty small right now, but yeast will grow. We'll have to put it in that dish and then wait another 30-40 minutes. Doubles in size, so that will be a second rice. And don't worry if you squeeze it. Yeast grows even more when you play with it. first time I ever tried baking with yeast, I was so scared. I didn't know what to do and how to handle it. And then I learned that, you know, it likes to be moved, and it will bounce back and rise up again. I will cover those now, and when those double in size, I can bake them at 350 for about 25 minutes. It has been half an hour, so it's time to check on my buns and preheat the oven to 350. Let's see how much they bounced back. And they did double in size, if not triple. They are looking good, nice and airy and fluffy. Time for baking. You think those are ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's take them out. And it is time to take them out. You cannot wait? Look how beautiful the design came out. Those buns looking so fancy. I really like those. When they cool off, I will put a little bit of powdered sugar on top, and then I'll cut it in half. They looking good and they smelling good. Who's waiting to eat them? Yum, 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 yum. I do like those pans. So that $29.99 was worth it for me. Well, all three of them will look the same, so I will cut just one. Very, very soft. I have to come closer. And how soft that bun is. And it presents itself really well. The dish works great. I love it. I don't have to do the extra work to create a braid myself, so it looks pretty. It's much easier to just put it and use that dish. Thank you for watching. Smacznego!